The driveway was long and overgrown, with weeds and wildflowers reclaiming the path. The trees on either side seemed to reach out towards her, their branches like skeletal fingers. Sarah as Sarah. She kept looking over her shoulder, her heart pounding louder with each step. She couldn't shake off the feeling that she was being watched, as if unseen eyes were following her every move. As she got closer, she noticed the eerie details of the manor, each one more unsettling than the last. The stone walls were crumbling, covered in moss and decay. Ivy crept up the sides, twisting and turning like serpents. The windows were like vacant eyes staring back at her, empty and soulless. Fear tightened its grip on Sarah. She considered turning back, her instincts screaming at her to flee, but something compelled her forward, an inexplicable force she couldn't resist. Sarah as Sarah. It was a massive oak door with a tarnished brass knocker, its surface worn by time. Sarah hesitated for a moment, her hand trembling as she reached out. Then she raised her hand and knocked 3 times, the sound echoing through the still night. The door creaked open, revealing a dark and dusty foyer, filled with shadows and secrets. The air inside was heavy and cold, almost suffocating. Cobwebs hung from every corner, swaying slightly in the draught. Dust covered every surface, untouched for years. A grand staircase loomed directly in front of her, its wooden steps creaking under the weight of time. It disappeared into the darkness of the upper floors, where the light dared not reach. Shadows danced on the walls, creating eerie shapes that seemed to move with a life of their own. Sarah as Sarah. She had a bad feeling about this place, a sense of foreboding that she couldn't shake. "Hello? Delivery?" she called out, her voice trembling slightly. Her voice echoed through the empty halls. There was no response, only the oppressive silence. Only the sound of her own breathing and the beating of her own heart filled the space. Sarah started to explore, her heart pounding in her chest. She walked cautiously, her footsteps echoing on the wooden floor, each creak sending shivers down her spine. Each step seemed to amplify the silence around her, making the house feel even more deserted. Sarah as Sarah. Its keys were covered in dust, a testament to its long abandonment. She could almost hear the ghostly melody of a long-forgotten tune echoing faintly in her mind. At the end of the hallway, Sarah found a dining room. A long mahogany table dominated the room. It was set for a meal with fine china and silverware, but the chairs were empty. In the center of the table, Sarah spotted a small black box. It was about the size of a jewelry box. It was made of intricately carved ebony wood.
I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. She cautiously approached the table. She reached out and slowly lifted the lid of the box. Inside, nestled on a bed of velvet, was a single white card. It was blank except for a single word written in elegant cursive script. Leave.
Panic surged through Sarah. She slammed the box shut and dropped it back on the table. She had to get out of there, now!
I turned and ran. My heart pounded in my chest. The footsteps grew louder. Whoever it was, they were getting closer. She raced back down the hallway, her breath catching in her throat. Sarah burst through the front door and into the night. She didn't stop running until she reached her car. She fumbled with the keys, her hands trembling.
The next day, Sarah went to the police. She told them everything she had experienced. About the mysterious order she received, the creepy mansion she visited, the black box she found, the warning card she discovered, and the eerie footsteps she heard. The police listened patiently, but she could tell they didn't believe her. Their skeptical expressions were hard to miss.
We investigated Blackwood Manor thoroughly, but we found nothing unusual. The mansion was completely empty. There was no sign of forced entry anywhere. No sign of anyone living there or having been there recently. No sign of the black box Sarah mentioned. It was as if the events of the previous night had never happened at all. The police eventually closed the case due to lack of evidence. They concluded that Sarah had probably imagined the whole thing, perhaps due to stress or fear. Whatever the explanation, the mystery of Blackwood Manor remained unsolved and continued to baffle everyone. Some said it was haunted, with spirits roaming the halls, but no one dared to spend the night there again, fearing what they might encounter.